is next to it, that's our access hatches to our pumps. So we could pull it out, do maintenance or anything of that nature. Now you may see a little textural change on the grass because we're going to add geotextile or geoweb, so that way when we get our maintenance equipment up there, we're not going to damage the park, not going to damage the grass, and it can survive. Now we will be widening. If you look at Salt Creek right now, this particular section is a very narrow section. We're going to widen it and create a floodplain. What we're also doing is, with the purchase of the property to the west, we're able to expand that area and create a natural controlled floodplain with Florida native vegetation. That allows us to connect and allow surface flow from the other areas north and south into this area and then across into the actual bigger retention area that the pumps will be drawing out from. And again, it's going to be a passive park, natural Florida vegetation. And what I would also like to touch on is you'd see the control structure that is currently at the Lake Magori will be installing the control structure at this location. Now remember when I went back, when I showed that topography of the land, so at this point it starts to drop down. So if we could keep that water inside that wall, it doesn't cross over and start flooding onto the surface. Eventually, yes, if it gets up to a 6 foot surge, it's going to impact. But at least we can get it to elevation that we know we were impacted, our residents were impacted, but at least we can get it to that elevation that we're mitigating that impact on them. And also, by moving the control structure here, that also helps us control the tailwater condition along Salt Creek, benefiting the residents at Harbor Dale that used to see flooding during a high tide and a heavy rain event, or even a surge condition. Now, again, I can't emphasize the benefit of the natural floodplain with the natural Florida vegetation, the walking trail, the existing bridge that's out there. We plan on replicating it and working on some signage indicating the historical significance of that bridge. Then along the pump station, along the walkway adjacent to the pump station, we plan on putting educational signage up to educate the public about the pump station, floodplains, and water quality benefits. So that's pretty much the high level of the project, the configuration. As I mentioned, this is very timely because we asked for approval on all these line items, but at least now you see how all of these fit together into one bigger picture and strategically. And with that, I'll love to take any questions.
Council members? Go ahead, Councilmember Driscoll.
Thank you, and thank you for the presentation. You have such a great way of pulling these together in ways that regular people like us can understand. This is, all of these projects together are going to have a direct positive impact on our residents, their property, their lives. Mm-hmm. And so I appreciate all that you're doing on this. You mentioned the native plantings that will help contribute to this. It's similar to a living shoreline, but with a different application. I think that's wonderful. I think that's something we really need to highlight. Yeah. People are interested in things like that. And I would suggest that we add that topic as you consider the educational signage. I think that could be important. The control structure that's up there in the northeast section of the property, is that going to look similar to the one at Lake Magori?
Similar, yes.
Okay. So we do have, it's not the first place that people think of when it comes to kayaking, mm-hmm. But we do have some somewhat adventurous kayakers who will use Salt Creek. Will they have to manage around that the way that they do when they get down to Lake Magori?
Yes, but the gates would not be closed all the time. there's, because we are closer to the open water condition itself, that gives us more flexibility on the gates opening and closing. So that's a very good point. I think that's something I'll have to follow up, probably the transportation planning department, because if we do need to do a crossing above ground, a pedestrian crossing, that's something we'll take a look at.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
And if you find that there's an opportunity, I know it's kind of steep there, but maybe somewhere before and after that, if a kayaker does have to lift out, get around it like they do at Lake Magori, if there's something that can be built in, and I'm talking about like a soft,
Yeah.
out and then back in.
Yeah, almost like a landing point to get
Yes.
out. Yeah.
Yes. I know that's something that's been brought up from time to time with Lake Magori. I know that it may not be feasible to do something like that, but if there is a way that we can help kayakers to easily be able to navigate around that and continue to enjoy their adventure, that would be great. You mentioned Thrill Hill earlier on, and could you mention, there are folks who say, are we redoing that? It's a historic
bridge,
bridge, so how might that be impacted?
no impact on this project.
All right.
Yeah, there's absolutely no impact. Thrill Hills on 3rd Street, the energy dissipation structure that we'll have for this will be immediately east of 4th Street Bridge. So there will be no impact on Thrill.
Yeah. Since you mentioned it, I wanted to make sure it was on the record. And then finally, on slide 12, you listed the different projects and what completion times we would be looking at. Are those done in order of the receipt of funding, or is it in an order that is practical? Sometimes you have to do things when you get the money for it, but like if you're starting with the dredging of Bartlett Lake and that's the first thing that would be completed, is that because it makes sense to do that first, or because that's where we got the funding earlier and we're further along with it right now?
I will go ahead and start, and I'll let Roger chime in if he has any other thing to add. But really, we laid these out within the CIP as far as strategically how we thought the improvements could benefit compounding on each other. Unfortunately, there were situations that challenged us in the fact of the grants sometimes had extensive compliance requirements that we had to do, and I'll give Bartlett as an example. We wanted to get Bartlett done way ahead of where we are now, but Bartlett had 365 days of monitoring required as part of the grant compliance for testing, so we couldn't bid the project for 1 year. I would have loved to have that done by now. So your question is so correct and appropriate, but we've laid out the projects strategically in the CIP, how it would benefit sequentially on the improvements. But the funding that council approves helps us get that timeline. But in some cases, we are slowed down if there's a grant that has permitting or compliance requirements. But you are absolutely correct. Projects are laid out strategically for compounding benefits.
Okay, great. That's all I have. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
We'll go to Councilmember Gabbard.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Brajesh, for the presentation, and Roger for being here, and the entire team. It is nice to see what feels like years of one-on-ones in a nice, concise PowerPoint that residents can understand and directly relate the impacts of these projects to their lives. So thank you for putting this together. And thank you for, all of the education that you've personally given me on our stormwater system, because I say, we're the policymakers, but you're all the ones that actually implement. And so I just really wanted to publicly thank you for the countless hours you have spent trying to explain all of this because it is very complicated, and there's a lot of sequencing, and then there is also a lot of, I guess, kind of after effects, if you will, for other neighborhoods that are outside of this direct area. So I wanted just to ask a couple of questions, kind of thinking ahead about, I guess, additional benefits of a project like this and what other neighborhoods in the southeast area maybe could expect either from this project or other projects that may come after this is done. So specifically 2 neighborhoods that we've talked a lot about, you're very familiar with. We've walked these neighborhoods together, Bonita Bayou, and then the Kingston Street area south of Childs Park and north of Clam Bayou. Those 2 areas have been seeing flooding impacts long before Helene and Milton. Pretty localized, but when it's you don't really care how localized it is, right? You care about how we're going to fix it, when we're going to fix it, and can we fix it? So can you talk a little bit about residents in those particular areas and maybe some of the unintended good consequences that may come from a project like this in that general geographic area?
Yeah, and Roger, if you need to chime in, feel free. I can talk definitely for Kingston. There's also a project similar in nature that we are evaluating right now. And I'll take a step back. As I mentioned, not the multiple neighborhoods that face the same challenges, but topography, geography, and how that impact comes in, while the impacts are similar, the solutions may be slightly different.
Right.
But yes, Kingston, we have one already, and Bonita, we do have, I'm trying to remember which one was Bonita, the project lined up for that one. So.
Okay. Well, we could circle back on that, but I just, as we get closer to bringing the St. Pete Action Plan, the Resilient Action Plan in for a landing, those were neighborhoods that participated in that process, pointing out, very specific impacts that they had seen. Once again, even long before the storms of last fall. And so just making sure, that we let them know publicly that we are still looking at those neighborhoods. We're still looking for impacts and how we can actually move some projects forward there as well.
Yeah,
so I just wanted to lift them up in this conversation.
I will definitely follow up because I need to go through and remind myself exactly what projects and the sequence of those.
Perfect.
So I will follow up on Kingston and Bonita for you.
Perfect. And then regarding the Basin C project, obviously looking at all of this, we understand, and you mentioned it, that, and Councilmember Driscoll mentioned it, there's going to be impacts that are going to save property, help people from flooding. Have you done an analysis to really understand the number of homes and businesses that potentially their risk from specifically the stormwater master or floodplain, how many properties we're talking about being able to impact with a project like this?
So because we don't have threshold, the actual elevation of all the properties across Pinellas County, that's something we're working with the county on right now.
Right.
Once we get that data, then we can go back with the updated floodplain and really run the numbers as far as how many properties will benefit. But that is something that we understand that the county may have threshold elevations for all the properties across the county. They apparently did some AI work and captured that data.
Okay.
So we are trying to get that data and then try to, once we get that, then we can actually run the analysis and really get solid numbers as far as, okay, we've changed the floodplain from X to Y.
Yeah.
What are the amount of properties that fell in X and Y now, and what's the benefit? But I will tell you on the supplemental improvements, the control floodplain, by example, and this project specifically, not just the control floodplain, is something we'll seek for CRS credit.
Yeah,
because
that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So projects like this, we're trying to think about it holistically of how many boxes we could check,
Right.
and not just doing a plain infrastructure project. Let's take that opportunity to maximize the benefit across the different departments on all our essential services and how it's going to flow back to our residents.
Thank you for doing that, because I think that's really the heart of this work, is how it directly impacts the people that we serve. And if we are not able to articulate that to our residents, the number of homes, the number of businesses, the CRS rating, the discount that could come from that. When we had our last CRS rating update, Hannah very specifically said that these natural buffers, these natural ways of using stormwater management, all of that will help us improve that rating. It was the one area where we were the lowest in the audit. So the more that we can tie direct financial implications to our residents, I think the more buy-in we get, because we need buy-in all the way around, right? We need it for funding, we need it for construction. I mean, people get frustrated, they see construction happening in their area, right? There's a direct impact to that. And so I really hope to see us get to a place where that is how we are communicating these projects, because I think that that really makes a lot of sense and gives a lot of comfort to the residents that we serve.
You know, you flipped a switch in my brain just now. So here's the thinking as well, because you're right on the buying, because a lot of residents are going to look all the way down there
Yeah,
and not going to realize, okay, wait a minute, I'm 20 blocks west of it. I'm actually benefiting from
Yes.
this project.
yeah,
So I think I think listing the properties are good, but I think showing the area of
Yeah.
benefit
absolutely.
is, yeah.
You guys are familiar at this point with the master plan document. And at the conceptual level, it describes exactly what you're asking. There's
Yeah.
a description of the project, there's the benefit associated to
Right.
the project, specifically numbers of structures out of the floodplain, linear feet of roadway removed from the 10-year floodplain. And the intention of that was to help paint that picture of what that
Right.
benefit is. Not only that, but that helps us prioritize which projects to do and why to do them.
Yeah.
And in this specific instance for Basin C, it was set up a little bit differently as a preempted master plan deliverable, in which all of these projects were really modeled as a inclusive benefit of doing them all.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing here is, 5 or 6 projects of great magnitude, a lot of potential impact that are coming down the pike, and we talked about it in our staff meeting yesterday. I've been here 3 years, and sometimes we share that frustration with the public that we really want to get things in the ground and do work. And we're finally starting to get to a point here where we're going to be busy doing work. So we look forward to putting some stuff in the ground and actually making a difference.
Fantastic. This is all very, very good news. And so thank you again for your commitment and for all your hard work and just the way that you think about things, such a holistic approach. And so I really appreciate you and the entire team. So thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Wonderful. Councilmember Givens.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Brajesh. Thank you to the whole team for your presentation, very in-depth and thorough. I'm hopeful because I share in the public's frustration with, okay, timeline. When are we finally going to get things done in my neighborhood? Although this isn't my neighborhood, I hear often, what's happening in North St. Pete? Well, it's happening much quicker than it's happening down in South St. Pete. They have projects there, no projects here. So thank you, Councilmember Gabbard, for reminding us of the Resilient Action Plan. I think this, is certainly going to be an opportunity for, Childs Park neighborhoods, other neighborhoods, Broadwater, even other areas outside of South St. Pete, because there are indirect benefits. I'm thinking about the Harbordale neighborhood. I know that they were inundated with water last year from the hurricanes to the random summer storms. And to know that this is going to help their neighborhood, I think that's amazing. So that controlled, I think it was a control structure. Is that correct, Brajesh?
Yes.
So can we talk a little bit about the educational opportunities? You mentioned the benefits of teaching the public about how we're keeping our water clean and purified. Is there an opportunity for us, and have we already thought about maybe collaborating with the Fish and Wildlife Conservation, possibly Eckerd College, USF St. Pete? Is there an opportunity for us to reach out to community partners to help with the education material?
I will tell you that we are continuing to work with USF on a agreement as far as how we're going to move forward, not just on this projects such as this, but also holistically. But I can definitely tell you we're engaging the our partners. I have to say them our partners because they are in St. Pete, and yes, a lot of the information that we'll put out there and on the educational signage will be things that we will definitely want to coordinate, and everything down to the Tampa Bay Estuary program. To be honest, I mean we have a lot of good partners in this area, and leveraging it so that way we have a unified voice is very important. So
I agree. Thank you for that, Rajesh. And I just want to lastly say, we oftentimes vote on line items like this where we wonder what the heck are we voting on and how is this going to benefit us. I see so many direct benefits, and again, I'm happy to see that it is South St. Pete neighborhoods that are going to benefit from this, and there's an opportunity too for health and wellness. I saw the track. What is the length of that track? Because I see another opportunity again to expand the adjacent Bartlett Park walking trail. So do you know the length?
not off the top of my head.
That is okay. That's fine. But
Probably
again,
my question.
signage opportunities,
Yeah.
I think people, would love to take a nice little stroll out there in the evening, an opportunity for us possibly to have another little small pickleball court. I saw a little area over there that would be perfect for that. So just something to think about.
Yeah, and I think, what we've done on other projects, and it's something we could probably take a look at, is on the track, we could probably put a marker, start here, at this point, you're 1 mile. It's definitely not 1 mile, 0.25 miles. And then at least people have an idea, okay, I've walked 3 rounds, I've done X amount. So stuff like that.
We'll scale for 400 meters.
Sounds good.
No hurdles.
I like it. Thank you, Chair.
Wonderful. Any other council members, committee members? No? Okay.
I'll go again if you.
Go ahead, yeah.
Oh, I
'Cause
didn't know if
no,
you-
I only have like finishing comments because you go ahead, yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up also, and this is more of a Parks Department thing, but Harbordale has been mentioned, and not long ago, the city purchased a residential property that was in horrible disrepair right at the edge of Harbordale Park. The structure has been demoed, and the Parks Department has put in landscaping. It's looking really beautiful. We're trying to do sort of a mini ribbon cutting thing just to celebrate with the neighborhood. But this is actually contributing to pervious surface in that area too, and that is right by the creek. So it's some of those smaller projects that maybe aren't exactly BREJ related that are also contributing to solutions in that area. Regarding water quality, education, I know we've got great partners out there beyond beyond city staff, but I have to mention that Kira Barrera from Public Works has been an absolute rock star in educating the public on water quality, not just through her job, but through her volunteer work as well, with groups like the Friends of Salt Creek and many others, and showing them how water quality testing is done and why it's important. So I had to give her a little shout out because she's a real hero when it comes to educating the public and sharing her passion for her work with everyone and showing what it really means for our city. There was one other thing, and I can't remember, so I'll probably just get with you afterwards. But this is exactly what I was hoping for, just to show everyone how all of this works together. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to put together a presentation. Oh, that's what it was. Recently, I attended an Old Southeast Neighborhood Association meeting, and BREJ and Marshall were the guest speakers. I was sort of the warm-up act. I mean, it was really, they were the stars of the show. Old Southeast, they had a great turnout that night. People were leaning in. people were asking really thoughtful questions. I was so impressed and just really engaged. The meeting even went over a little bit, and almost no one had left.
No one left. It was-
They're interested, but these guys kept them interested. And it was the way that you presented it. And one of the great talents that you have, and Marshall too, is being able to explain things in ways that everyday people can understand. And some of this was shown to the residents. And so they, even though Old Southeast is not directly on all of this, they understand now how these projects are impacting them. It was wild. I said only half jokingly that I need to get them signed up for a nerd night event, because just seeing how something that might seem boring or uninteresting to some turns out to be something that's of great interest in our city. So I hope you guys are planning a world tour sometime soon so that you can continue to share this information with everyone and show, in spite of what some perception is out there, you guys are really kicking butt with these projects and getting them moving fast, as much as you possibly can. So thank you for that. I was so proud to be there with you that night, and I can't wait to see what the next stop is on your tour. Thank you, Chair.
If I may add, just want to, and thank you for that. Sheila sent me a beautiful card, and I
Oh,
do
good.
appreciate that. It's not often we get thanks from being out there, but I wanted to touch on one thing, Councilmember Givens. MLK, where you'd see a lot of the project benefits for Basin C. Actually, I'll stay on this one. So MLK is essentially your district. So the majority of the benefit contributing stormwater system is within District 7, even though a lot of, quite a bit of the benefits, Harbordale is obviously within your district, but that's, it's really, this is such a good regional project. So just wanted to get that across as well. Yeah.
You can go ahead, Councilmember Givens. Yeah.
A quick question for you, Brajesh. I was thinking about a storm. In the event of a hurricane evacuation, can you talk about automations and remote control?
Oh, well, these are going to be on what we call SCADA controls. So this is not something that somebody has to go out there and turn cranks on. Well, everything that we are installing is intended to be fully automated with backup.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Great. All right. Thank you very much for the presentation. I just want to compliment on, I really like the idea of like the systemic approach around the particular basin. It gives me ideas about how I'd love to see information presented when we go through SPAR projects as well. But it's nice to see, a holistic picture painted for us about how we're going to impact this area. And I'm glad to see a lot of things moving. It's really exciting, especially to see the active and planned projects lists, and planned completion is listed for all of the projects. That's encouraging, so you will be able to tell residents in this area when they can expect to see things, when they can expect to start to see things as well. So I don't know, I'm really grateful and enjoyed the presentation. If no one else has anything to add, then I'll thank you all. Our next HERS meeting is not till next year, January 22nd. So, we'll see if we have any items that are pressing and ready to go before then, and we'll see what we can do. But maybe we need to have a discussion as a council about how often we schedule this committee. We've done that in the past. We used to meet more frequently, and then we took it back some, but this year has been a challenge getting everything scheduled. Thank you all for working with me on that. But if there's nothing else for the good of the order, then we'll call today's Health, Energy, Resilience, and Sustainability Committee meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
My name is DeWitt Miller. I work for the city of St. Pete. I'm equipment operator 2, operate street sweepers for the city. I'm a second generation street sweeper operator. My dad did it. I like it, I'm by myself. It's no rush, get a certain area done. The object is to get the area clean. Like you got to go and say, oh, you got to get the area done in one day. That's not how we operate. The object is to get it clean and do the best that you can. Street sweeping is very important, I think, because without street sweeping, you would have all the pollutants build up in the curb line and the gutters, and then it will make the streets flood. Pollutants, what I mean by that, you got sand buildup, leaves, trash along the gutter lines. My job is to keep it clean, pick it up. On an average day, you might get anywhere from 5 to 15 cubic yards of material. Mileage-wise, you might get anywhere from 8 to 10 miles a day sweeping. Some of the challenges we have to deal with, you have cars that are in your way, you might have trees down, palm fronds, stuff like that. We have to go around some of that stuff. We're trying to get every street in the city swept at least once a month. Enjoy seeing the citizens out, come giving you a high five, telling you what good job you're doing. I just enjoy my job. Well, as a kid, I used to get excited when I see my dad come down the street in a street sweeper. As a kid, one day I would like to do that. So I guess you could say I fulfilled the dream that I always wanted to follow in the footsteps of my dad and drive a street sweeper. Well, I get a sense of pride with every neighborhood I do. I go out and try to give it 100%, because I feel like every house that I go past, it's my house. So my job is to go out and do the best that I can. I take pride in that.
I want it to be fun. I want people to ask questions like, why are the cows flying? Why does the girl have two faces? All of my artwork, I want to hint at a story that you can fill the blanks in with. My artwork tells my story of navigating femininity, faith, and Latinidad through my paintings. Having something that is gonna live on and that people will stumble upon, like, wow, this really is super cool. I'm Christy. I've always been an artist. It's never really been a choice that I've made.
Hi, my name's Barbara Stallbird, and I work for the City of St. Petersburg Parks and Recreation Department, and I'm here to talk about debris. No matter what type of storm we experience, there's a certain way that debris needs to be handled. First, it needs to be separated. It needs to be separated by vegetative debris, which would be trees and limbs, construction and demolition debris, which would be flooring and drywall, and also household goods, such as appliances. Step 2, placement of your debris is very important. Place your debris on the curb, not on the street and not on the sidewalk. This will allow the call to come and grab the debris. Pro tip, never put your debris next to infrastructure or any obstruction for the claw to grab the debris, such as near a fire hydrant, a mailbox, a sign, or even under a tree. Number 3, please do not place your debris in bags. Monitors need to be able to view the debris to ensure that it's not mixed. And remember, always keep up to date with what's going on before, during, and after a storm at St. Pete FL.
My name is Lisa Fleming. My business is Dress Up Studio. It's actually a boutique, one of the newest boutiques in downtown St. Pete, on the corner of First Avenue North and 6th Street. I'm from Puerto Rico, and in Puerto Rico, fashion is big. I guess like everything started back with, my parents, right? Like especially my mom. My mom loves fashion, and of course, when she had her 4 kids, like everything kind of like all the attention like turned into us. So I was, early introduced to fashion. I had a passion for it. So I really wanted to have a space where I could find pieces, for any occasion. I was in an environment that was highly dominated by male, and I wanted to obviously, keep it professional, but still be true to myself. And, fashion was that, way to really, be able to have fun. St. Pete is very special in the sense that it truly supports small businesses. And I really feel like when you go out there and you have the opportunity to really engage with other business owners, they're extremely helpful as well. And I think that's incredibly valuable. There's something in here for every single person. They just need to come in and play with us.
My name is Catherine Washington, and I'm the first Black female firefighter for the city of St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'm very proud to be that and hold that title. A trailblazer is a person, and they go out and they do something that is mostly done by one gender, and they pierce that and they make something out of it that redistributed what people think of each other. I always wanted to kind of do what I call dangerous work. Something that somebody else didn't want to do, you know. So when my sister said, hey, they hiring, so I said, I want to go for the fire department. And I went. In this world, for me to be a firefighter, it was the most unique thing that I could ever think to be. Me being in the Army Reserve gave me a step up to think I could do way more things. I could lift the weights, I could come out of the building out of a window just like the man did, and that gave me the chance to do it. We used to have the Martin Luther King parade. One time, I didn't want to be in the parade, I wanted to see the parade. Well, I had these 3 African-American older females that I knew knock on my door and say to me, you do not miss another parade as long as you're on this department, because we have young girls out here who need to see you and know that they can aspire to be what you are. So don't be standing over here in the crowd with us. You be out there walking with them fellas. If I could say something to kids who think they can't aspire to be this because they have problems and they think those problems hold them down, don't let what you think you hold you back. Aspire to be what you want to be in spite of that. And then you can see yourself being somebody else.
Hi, I'm Aurelis, and I'm the owner of the Happy Snapper food truck, and we've been in business for a little over 3 months.
My name is Raphael. I am a full-time charter captain here out of O'Neill's Marina in St. Petersburg, Florida. I've been doing it probably for over 20 years. The role that I have in the food truck is pretty much I am the fryer. She pretty much puts everything together, makes it look nice and pretty going out.
I do everything else. I've always cooked. I mean, I've been cooking meals for my family since I was 12, and I'm not talking about like boxed macaroni and cheese. I mean, like full meals. And it's just something I've always liked to do. And my son actually played club soccer for Strictly. We went out of town and we decided to cook for the entire team and all the parents. And ever since then, after multiple teams showed up and ate, everyone was asking us when we were cooking again, and 7 years later, here we are. When I cook, I put my heart into it, so you're getting food that is happy and inviting and
it's fresh. You know, with a little Spanish twist to it, because we do have a couple of things on the menu that is definitely you know, from being from Puerto Rico, you know, we're gonna have some plantains in there, you know, and we're gonna have some rice. Our main thing is fresh fish with a Spanish twist to it.
Apparently we're putting out food that there's not many other trucks doing, and we're getting customers asking, you know, when we're going to be back, where we're going to be set up. We're having breweries that are in St. Pete asking for us to come back to their location because their customers are asking about us. And I feel like St. Pete is a very good place for people that, I mean, they love supporting the local community, local businesses, and it's just a great place for anyone to thrive.
Youth Champions is a program that encourages the youth and the officers to build a better relationship.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement put out a grant called the Community Violence Intervention and Prevention Grant Program. So through them, we were able to create Youth Champions, where kids ages 11 to 17 in the community of Jordan Park gets to engage with law enforcement officers, engage in positive activities such as yoga and therapy.
Meditation, that's like the best one, is meditation, like get your mind at ease. And after that, we just like talk. We talk about like the program, like how is it like affecting them and pros and cons of what they have in their life. I didn't know at them at first, but like actually like seeing them like do the activities that we be doing and actually interacting with them, it's good.
I think that it's imperative that we build those relationships. We've seen it time and time again where those relationships have benefited us to the positive in the police department. Any opportunity we as police officers get to engage, everybody can relax and be themselves, and then they can get to know us and see the people behind the badge.
Anytime you can consistently show up and commit to a neighborhood or to young children, they see that you're dedicated, and naturally just being able to build relationships is what's going to make a difference in their lives.
It's important to give back. It's important to let the youth know that we care. Our officers are here to ensure that our community is safe. They're here to protect and serve, but serving our community is definitely important.
I hope that they walk away with a sense of seeing an officer as a person, as another human being, that they're just like them.
People can like actually trust cops, have fun with them, and don't be scared.
The Pinellas Trail is probably the best way I've found to get all over the county without worrying about traffic or my pace. It's just a way to get around and have fun.
So in the spring, say on a weekend, on a Sunday, you'd find lots of folks out just walking, biking, just really enjoying the weather.
So the trail starts downtown by the water, and it goes all the way to Tarpon Springs, if I'm not mistaken. And I like it because it kind of cuts back behind the neighborhoods. There's murals, there's tree coverage, and it just kind of winds through the most beautiful parts of the city.
It's an awesome engineering feat, and it dissects the middle of an urban city, and at the same time, you feel like you're off to yourself. You're a little bit secluded, ample places for you to run, ride, and even collect your thoughts.
It's pretty quiet and peaceful. Quiet in the sense that there's typically during the day a lot of users on the trail, so you're never by yourself, but everybody's kind of in their own world, so it's not a lot of noise.
We were looking for a place that would be a hub for a healthy and active community, and one of the big things we wanted here was to have a place where people could run and walk right near our location. Pinellas Trail, which is right behind our facility, turned out to be the perfect location.
We do lots of events here at the store. We do probably about 100 free community group runs from here where we're using the trail.
Have a great walk, have a great run, guys.
The running community in St. Pete is so supportive and so encouraging of all of the runners, no matter your pace. Everybody's just encouraging you along the way. And so when I went to my first group run, I invited my mom to come and do an evening walk with me, and that became part of our weekly routine, particularly in the spring.
We do 2 runs a week, Monday and Thursdays, where we're running on the trail. So that's 100 times every year right there that we're out running on the trail with a group of people.
I retired from Pinellas County in urban planning, and so I was involved in the initial planning for the Pinellas Trail. We saw it as a means of providing a facility that could be used not just for recreation, but health-related benefits as we deal with obesity and other issues. So our planning was from the perspective of an alternative to on-road facilities.
So a lot of times here in the store, we encourage people, just go out there and see what happens. Don't have any set expectation for how far you're gonna go, how fast you're gonna go. Just get on the trail and have fun.
The scenery is probably why I started using the trail as much as I did. The murals, number one, are my absolute favorite thing, and they're constantly changing.
Not far from here, it's called Stonehenge Park. They have some beautiful murals painted on the bridges.
Stonehenge Park is like one of those really cool wonders of art, and it's just right here. Nobody knows about it.
So you'll have a cool blend between really fun art, awesome plants life. There's all sorts of berries and things growing I didn't know about back there. You learn a little bit more every time you go. Good morning. I love to specialize.
When I was working still, we did surveys along the trail, and on any given weekday, we found about 1/3 of the users were using it as a commute alternative.
If you've never tried the Pinellas Trail, I urge you to do so. You can walk it, you can run it, you can rent a bike at just about every few miles. You'll find a bike shop that's got bikes for rent.
And we've had people come in and verbalize like their thanks, but also like you just see them out there and they just look radiant. They look awesome and healthy, happy, and you can tell that they're glad they're doing what they're doing. We're just appreciative that we had a part in their success.
Trails give me the opportunity to really get out there and feel safe. There's bike lanes in some places, but to have a fully dedicated place, that helps a lot. It's more than just a long stretch of pavement, it's a community.
The trail is a wonder that brings everybody together.
Fire Tech Echo, Engine 5, District 10, District 5, Engine 4, structure fire.
If you truly want to be part of the best, then St. Pete Fire Rescue is for you.
I love this job. We have no idea what's gonna happen every shift. We just go to work. We don't know when the wind's gonna come.
When the public calls on us, it's normally their darkest times and their darkest moments, and they depend on us.
We have to trust each other. In a fire, all we have is the team.
You know, we go into some very dangerous situations sometimes, so we need that feeling like there's someone there right along with you.
The spectrum of how we positively impact every person in our community is huge.
St. Petersburg Fire Rescue responds to over 60,000 calls per year. Of those 60,000 calls per year, over 70% are medically related.
We are fire and EMS. We are one team together, but we also have a lot of other avenues that a firefighter or firefighter paramedic can progress in their career.
St. Petersburg has specialty teams, technical rescue team, a dive team, and the hazardous materials team. So it's above and beyond the normal fire training that you get.
It takes a hardworking, selfless person with some good moral character. There's a lot of pride in this job and a lot of tradition that comes with it as well.
We're called to keep the citizens safe, but also keep each other safe. And you have to have that passion, that want to, that drive to not only do better, but be better.
I joined the military. I became a firefighter in the Air Force. It was a natural progression from the military service to a paramilitary organization such as St. Pete Fire Rescue.
The fire department is a semi-military organization, so we take direction through a chain of command. We train to an exhaustive level. We feel that the more you train, the better prepared you are to go.
I went through the cadet program. It was an awesome opportunity. Not only do they take you under the wing, they pay for your education, fire academy and EMT school.
We depend on each other. We live in an intimate setting. We live like in a house, and we're very much like a nuclear family.
It's brothers and sisters. We have our fun times. We like to play with each other. Best parts are always lunch and dinner, because when everyone sits at the table, we go over how our 2 days were when we got off, see what everyone's doing.
It's where you grow as a person. You kind of learn life lessons. Camaraderie is very important. It makes the job easier, not so much of a job.
You know, we're here every third day, so we treat this just like we treat our house. We have to clean the bathrooms just like we clean the bathrooms. Take out the trash, make sure it looks good. Clean the trucks, inventory the trucks. You take care of it just like you take care of your home.
Every station has a gym with full equipment.
The department's training division is very involved in health and fitness initiative.
We have an extensive behavioral health program. We assess risk within the fire department in 3 main areas. One is behavioral health, physical fitness, and on-the-job duties that we do, and then in training.
In St. Petersburg Fire Rescue, it's important to us to have a fire response service that reflects the community that we serve.
St. Petersburg is a very diverse city, and we can all work to reach a common goal together.
We've had folks that come to us and reach out to us, and that's the kind of trust we're looking for with our public.
One of our biggest programs is our Home Safe program, which provides free smoke alarm installations to City of St. Petersburg homeowners. Another big component is public education and community outreach. We provide public education on fire safety and injury prevention to citizens of all ages.
To me, being on the front lines as a first responder, I'm blessed every single day. There's no better feeling when you lay your head down at night and you're like, wow, I really had a hand in helping.
It's hard work, but it's hard work towards doing something great.
I know for a fact that I work for a really good fire department. It's an extreme honor.
You want to do something you love, this is the place. If you want to be the best, this is the place. You can't get any better place to work.
I'm Dan Gulick. Join our team.
Hola, me llamo Teresa Bieber Rishi. Únete a nosotros.
제 이름은 김희경입니다. 세인트 피터스버그 소방관에 가입하세요.
I am Aaron Walton. Join our team.
We're here at the Shell Dash Townhomes ribbon cutting. We're 10 homeowners were given the keys to their homes, and it's the first project like this for Habitat in St. Petersburg. And 10 lives now are going to move forward into home ownership. It's a great day.
Our families go through a lot to get to a day like today. After being accepted into our program, these families take 38 homebuyer education classes, teaching them everything they need to know to be a successful homeowner. We cover topics from budgeting to home maintenance and even how to be a good neighbor. They also put in between 350 and 450 sweat equity hours on our construction sites, including their own home.
It represents all the hard work and dedication that I've endured over this past year. I am greatly proud of myself going through this journey. At times I thought I could not, but I am here.
Through a partnership, the city put in more than $1 million from the South St. Pete CRA, donated the land, and Habitat is providing an interest-free mortgage. So it's an intentional effort to have affordable housing right here, just south of Tropicana Field, for folks who make our city work, and that's why it's important.
The average median price of a townhome in the city of St. Petersburg is over $650,000 right now. So to have a home made affordable to these families at $279,000 with a zero interest mortgage, it'll keep these homes forever affordable for these families as they move in.
We have 50 more just south of here on the 18th Avenue corridor that we're working with Habitat on, and those will come to fruition. So folks need to understand that the process takes time, but we're dedicated to making sure it moves forward.
My name's Jason Farina. I'm an electrician 2, Parks and Rec. I run the bucket truck, the big bucket. So I basically take care of anything that's over 15 feet in the air. Sports lighting, tennis courts, basketball courts, the decorative lighting, stuff like that. We're at Boyd Hill Nature Center, and we're retrofitting the parking lot lights with LED. So we're getting rid of the old inefficient HID lighting. Safer, better on the environment all the way around, so it's a win-win. I get a lot of one-on-one time with citizens when I'm out and about. You know, I like when they come up and ask me questions. I never have a problem talking with people. Anybody ever comes up and asks me questions, I'm more than helpful. Like the new LED lights and stuff, I get a lot of positive feedback from that. People feel safer, and it makes for a nicer environment. You know, we have a lot of osprey nests and wildlife like that. Down at Lake Vista, I got to see the osprey from being eggs to being hatchlings. I watched the mom and dad teach them how to fly. It was pretty cool. Once you get up over 30 feet or so, it's like everything is quiet. Get to focus on me and my work without having to worry about what's going on down below. It's like a whole different world, you know?
Hey guys, St. Pete Mayor Ken Welch here, continuing our Sunrunner bus tour. I'm here with fellow Bull USF St. Pete student Joey Vars. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us what Sunrunner means for a student at USF.
You know, Sunrunner is really a game changer. If you live on the western side of St. Petersburg or by the beaches and you're a student, it really opens up the city to being able to get to town a lot quicker. You can go to class without having to drive. I take my bike from Paso Grill to the station, and then I'm downtown in less than an hour, and I don't have to worry about driving.
And you were telling us on the bus how you actually get your bike mounted on the bus. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so the way that the Sunrunner has it, they have these little bike assists, and you wheel your bike right in kind of on the little machine, and then it verticalizes it, so it takes up less space. You can kind of stand more compact, and you actually get more people on the bus that way too.
Cool. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us today, Joey.
Thank you for having us.
We'll talk to you more on our Sunrunner bus tour.
The culture of St. Pete, when I arrived in '97, I like saying it was nascent. It was percolating under the ground, but there were no coffee shops. There wasn't the Globe coffee shop that Jarlin Schilke created. There was no place for people to hang to say, I've experienced this, now let me talk about it over a cup of Joe. And, but it was nascent. And I also think there were a lot of creative people in St. Petersburg who were kind of doing their own thing, and we just, some say a catalyst, but I think it's kind of a centrifuge where this goes in, 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 and so I think we primarily just put a mirror up to the community and say, where y'all at? And that's how we came to be. I know we initially talked about it as being a theater, but that was the least of what we were going to do insofar as we knew that we wanted a place for the community to come together without hurt, harm, or danger, and, you know, speak on or about or for all sorts of things. And we had to find out what those things were, so.
Well, I can say that when I got here in 2008, because a lot of people don't know, that my first performance in St. Pete was here. This was the place to be. Everybody was talking about the studio. They wanted to work at the studio. They wanted to be at the studio. The community is the reason why it succeeds, and we get to feed the community. So it's a cycle, right? It's synergetic. It's and everybody needs to feel like they have a home.
Hello, my name is Bob Turner. I'm the Assistant Director of Sanitation for the City of St. Petersburg, and I'm here to talk to you about a very important issue called hot loads. Historically, hot loads for us were centered around hot coals that folks had put into the garbage cans. Now the new culprit is rechargeable lithium batteries. These batteries actually combust when crushed. So as soon as they go into our garbage trucks and we compress the load, either the batteries themselves or the devices that contain these batteries are crushed, they ignite, and they set the load on fire. The important thing for our residents to know is that these types of batteries and the devices that these batteries are in can't be thrown away in the regular garbage. They need to be taken someplace where they can be recycled, where they don't cause a hazard to our trucks or our drivers. The best way to find out information about where you can take a particular device or a battery is to go to the Pinellas County Solid Waste webpage and use their Where Does It Go tool. It's a great resource. You can type in the item that contains the rechargeable battery or the battery itself, and they'll tell you what to do with it. It's important for our residents to please keep these items out of the trash so that we don't have trucks catch on fire and we don't risk our employees.
I'm Dr. Tanja Williams. I am the first African American and female president of St. Petersburg College in St. Petersburg, Florida. My definition of a trailblazer is a person who has a fire burning in the bottom of their belly that they just have to get out. A person who's willing to practice courage over comfort, who's willing to step out and do something that no one has done because they feel passionate about it and they feel that they have something that they could add to it to help make things better than they are now. Being one of the very few St. Petersburg natives born and raised in St. Pete, getting a job at St. Petersburg College alone was a big deal for us. Growing up, I did not get to see African American college presidents. As a matter of fact, I don't believe I had an African American faculty member when I was going to college. So to be president was not something that I thought was in my reach. It wasn't a part of my vision. But when it came to fruition, I realized that it was such a huge honor and a huge opportunity to help others understand that it's not where you start, it's where you finish. So being the president of SPC is an honor, it is a privilege, it's also a lot of hard work. One of the biggest moments of a college president is the investiture. I remember fighting tears because it's a part of my journey that my mom, who helped get me there, was not able to join me. She had passed away. She said, Tanja, you're gonna do some cool things in life. I'm not gonna be here to see it, but I know you will. And she said, don't sell your soul to get it, and don't sell your soul to keep it. And I remember standing on that stage saying to her, we did it, and I did not sell my soul. I've had a lot of people in my life who stood in the gap for me to help me do what I didn't think I could even do myself. People like Helen Callier at George's Pools. They were one of the first African-American millionaires in St. Petersburg who owned a swimming pool company. They pushed me hard to go to college, and they helped me stay in college. For those of you who are thinking, wow, I've failed 3 times, get up the 4th time. Many of us have failed. Many of us have made mistakes, but you dust yourself off and you keep going. It's all about the possibilities. Don't leave them on the table. Get up, dust yourself off, and keep trying.
My name is Coach Ty Wood. I'm the owner of Berg Body Fitness. My mission with my company is to help people feel confident and comfortable in their naked body. I am passionate about bringing fun community fitness to St. Pete. People can start their fitness journey at any point of their life. Sometimes it can be high pressure. I try to alleviate that and give them a safe space that they can just enjoy themselves, because when you're having fun doing something, you want to do more of it. I am a 14-year Army veteran, so I didn't have a choice but to do fitness when I was in the military. So I think after I got out of the military and I went to school and I started studying exercise science, I realized that it was something that I had a passion for. I linked up with Healthy St. Pete. I volunteer a cardio kickboxing class every first Tuesday of the month, and that was kind of like our first interaction. And then from there, like, I kind of just became like their fitness person. Being active myself just gives me a better quality of life, and it helps me feel like my inner child's hero.
My name is Joel Hostler. I'm one of the owners here at 7C Music. My father and I opened this business in 2016. I'm a Florida native. My father moved back here, retired in 2015, started doing some guitar work. Quickly found out that he didn't want to do it all on his own, and so he called me that later on that year and asked if we would want to move back to Florida from California, Southern California. We literally moved here in September of 2016, and we opened the doors of the shop in October of 2016. We were in a smaller shop, and then we were there for about 4 years. So 2016 to 2020, we signed a lease here in the Warehouse Arts District and opened this location here. Expanded quite a bit. Of course, we opened a coffee shop that my wife runs. Now we're here. It's 2025, a new year. It's been good. This place has become, I think, a hub for musicians. We have a lot of times guitar players will come in and somebody else comes in and they're in the room and they just start talking and get to know each other. Then they're having coffee the next week. There's a ton of bars and a ton of restaurants that have people playing music in the corner. We knew we wanted more of a listening room type of experience where people are able to listen and actually engage in the music. Between the coffee shop, the concerts, the guitar repair shop, and the sales, I think it's a really fun place for community for people to come and hear music, get coffee, and even learn more about guitars and stuff too.
Hey. Go. Go.
I'm Officer Middlebrooks. I work with the City of St. Petersburg Police Department. I am assigned to the Police Athletic League.
And I'm Officer David Lopez, and my role here is to interact with the kids, create a positive environment, and be a positive role model in their lives. The idea of a police athletic league is very important.
It is important. It's important to have police officers interacting with the community.
It gives us as police officers the opportunity to create those relationships and change that mindset that police are there just to take you to jail. That's really not the case here. Kids know they can come here and have a good time and interact with police officers in a positive way. A lot of times they don't have certain resources, so we try and provide those resources for them. We have mentors here, we provide homework help, we provide recreation, we provide snacks.
My favorite part personally is probably the mentoring aspect of my job. There was a kid, they were having some problems in school. I started mentoring and having lunch with them and just giving them some positivity. And the teacher told me that they were doing better in class, that they were looking forward to having lunch meetings with me. So that made me feel really good, and it felt like I was definitely making a difference.
When these kids come in, it brightens their day to see the consistency of having a positive role model in their lives.
Foul on 3. 1, 2, 3.
A lot of times when they first start here, they may not take on to us as well, but as time goes on, you can see a relationship develop. There's one kid that started when I first walked into the center. He would hide behind tables. The beginning to the end period, from when he wouldn't even talk to me, he would hide from me, to now all of a sudden he can come up to me and give me a hug. That was a huge, huge difference. I always feel great coming to work. I mean, I know I'm gonna be having a good time with these kids, and we're here for a cause. We're here for the kids, and we want to make sure that we're putting them on a path to success. So being in a position where I can directly impact these kids on a one-on-one basis every day is a pretty good feeling, knowing that, hopefully these kids are changing for the better, and hopefully I have a role in that.
PCCA, Gibbs High, was high school that was invented because initially black people didn't go much beyond the 6th or 7th grade. And they created it. And then they put this performing arts magnet there. And I remember the first time I went there, just the art in the hallways that was from students, very sophisticated. And I thought, who wouldn't want a job there teaching motivated, talented young people? And obviously you were called because you taught. How long did you teach at Gibbs?
I believe I taught for 9 years, 8 or 9 years. Yeah, a long time. I think teaching at PCCA for those years made me a better artist. Working with young artists and inspiring young artists. But beyond the inspiration, teaching them how to coexist as artists in the community. They did not seek artists who were teachers. First, you didn't have to have a teaching degree to work in the magnet.
I didn't know that.
No, they wanted you to be an artist first. So you came with your artist degree or your art, and then from there, once you were inside, because I didn't have a teaching degree, once you were inside, once you got hired, then they put you through, Pinellas County School District has a phenomenal program so that you could get your teaching license. They wanted all of their educators to be working in the community so that their students had the opportunity to network and with the community members so that it strengthens the school and it also strengthens the community. And I think that was very important. I think it's a pivotal part of the program. I think it's a thing that makes it successful. And then not just the community as in St. Pete or the Southeast region, but our national community too. Because so many of our artists, visual and performing artists, have gone on to do great things. Broadway, LA, and beyond, tours, all those things, yeah.
District 8 is located from the interstate to Tyrone Boulevard and runs north to south from Central Avenue to 40th Avenue North. I'm Richie Floyd, your council member for District 8. I'm standing along the shores of Jorgensen Lake Park, located directly behind our main public library, a place where students and residents throughout our city have visited and utilized over the decades and still frequent to this day. The newly renovated President Barack Obama Main Library will be an impressive, well-known asset to all in our community. Another major landmark in District 8 is St. Pete High. This highly rated school, built back in 1926, has served as a campus for generations of Green Devils in the Sunshine City. You haven't experienced all of St. Pete if you haven't stopped by Mazzaro's Italian Market. This true Italian market serves as a destination for lunch, fresh roasted coffee and beverages, and homemade pasta. District 8 is also home to one of our best business districts, Grand Central, with plenty of places to eat and shop. Grand Central was also the birthplace of St. Pete Pride and the Pride Parade, and still plays a role in our city's annual Pride events. If you're looking to escape the grind of the city, this district also features several city parks, including Gladden Park and Booker Creek Park, which includes new pickleball courts. District 8 has the right mix of people, neighborhoods, parks, shopping, and culture. In a lot of ways, it's the best representation of what St. Pete is all about.
My name is Jacoby Chambliss, and I'm a traffic signal technician here with the City of St. Pete. We maintain our traffic signals here. We have the signal heads, we got the cabinets, we have the controllers, we got the conflict monitors, so we just make sure that everything stays operational and safe. This is a very important job. We make sure that people get to work on time. We make sure you get there safely. That's one of the most important things, is just being safe. Without traffic signals, life would be chaos for us. We come in, we get our orders from our manager. We check our trucks and make sure we have everything we need for today. Our orders could be anywhere from maintaining a cabinet where we go out and clean it out and just make sure all the timing and everything's up to par. From there, it could be calls we get in from citizens saying, hey, you got lights out, and we'll take care of different things. That you got poles that get hit, it's always something different. It's a highly hazardous job. We're dealing with electricity, high voltage you're dealing with, weather. It's a rough job to be out there. You got traffic coming by you, all types of speed. But I can tell you that the city of St. Pete, they take pride in what we do as far as taking care of our signals, and we're out here swapping our equipment out at a rapid pace here. We're trying to change out all these cabinets. We're putting in new controllers. We're doing a lot to make sure the city stays safe and to upgrade and change with the times. Every day is just always an adventure. It's always something more to learn. I enjoy the people I work with. I enjoy the city of St. Pete. I enjoy what I do. I enjoy helping the citizens. I just enjoy what I do, man. It's a great job.
I'm Paul Laverne. I'm a library assistant 2 with the City of St. Petersburg Library System. My #1 job is customer service. It's a different day every day. The tasks may stay the same, but the people that come in change your day. You talk to different people. You do story times for the kids. You see different kids. We're here for the public to use when they need us. It's a good community meeting area. The library has like quiet places in it, but it's not really deemed like a quiet place where everybody just comes in, everybody's silent. We have a kids section where they can get a little bit loud. You have your circulation desk where people are asking questions and coming in and coming out. So it's not exactly like the lady telling everybody to shush. The library's really not a slow place anymore. It's fast, it moves. Information changes, how to get the information changes. It has progressed quite a bit in the library system. We have some Blu-rays plus our computer system, and people come in all the time to use the computers. We have hot spots that a lot of people borrow. We have museum passes where people can come in and check out a pass to our museums in the city. We do story times in every location, so we're in every community. These kids, when they can be introduced to reading and we can make it fun and enjoyable, that they won't stop reading also. I get kids that are now adults and they come in the library and they say, oh yeah, I remember you did story time for me when I was like 6 years old. So I mean, that kind of thing makes me feel good that I could impact somebody in a positive way. That's what is really cool. It feels really good. So many things I've been able to do that I don't know if I could have done those if I wasn't working for the library system for the city. It's been a very fast 36 years. It's been great. I've loved every minute of it. It's been fantastic.
A lot of these baseball fans that go to the Rays games, and we see these, unbelievable great players come through St. Petersburg and play, but it's not the first time. And a lot of people don't realize that all these legends that they hear about, these Hall of Famers, would just walk the streets of downtown St. Petersburg.
Absolutely. I think the first baseball team came here for spring training in about 1914. 1914 was a huge year.
It was a huge year for us.
When you think about it. So it was the St. Louis Browns, and they played here for a couple of years, but they presaged those Roaring 20s, and part of the Roaring 20s was the coming of the New York Yankees. And they had all the big names. They had Babe Ruths, they had Lou Gehrig. They played here and they partied here at the Gangplank, probably.
I'm sure.
Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig stayed at the Florenton Hotel, which is still downtown. And the Yankees played here until I think it was 1961.
So Bobby, I have heard the origin story of your relationship with Jamie and how that kept you here, but I don't think I've ever heard why you wanted to start the studio.
Well, you know, that's a very good question, but I think it stemmed most from, I mean, somebody told me this years later that Jamie was just trying to find something for me to do because Dave Ellis and myself, we had not fully formed what the studio would be. And Jim was out looking for a building, found this place, and we were calling it a theater, but not necessarily. And I had never run a nonprofit before. I'd worked for dozens of them, but I'd never run one. And so I think it was a convergence of several things, and we just grew into it being what we now understand to be the studio, which is something David Ellis and myself never did an elevator speech or the one sound bite. It's many things. Lately, people have been calling it St. Petersburg's living room, which sounds nice. It's a home for the visual and performing arts, but it's evolved. But we never had a specific defining, we're gonna do this. It just evolved.
I was really blessed to grow up in a multi-generational family. So my mother and both of my grandmothers were very influential in my life. They were women who were very family-oriented. That commitment extended to the larger community, and that created a very secure and safe environment for me to grow up in.
Most of us growing up in the 80s were latchkey kids. When I started going home after school, Alone was the very first Oprah Winfrey show. And I really looked up to Oprah in the way she was able to talk to people and learn about lives that were things that maybe I didn't see in my own community. Back in small town Louisiana, opened up a whole new world to me.
My childhood was full of family, so my role models were my immediate and extended family members. And while many of them are no longer physically here with us, I still have all of their teachings, the lessons, the love for family, the hard work ethic, laughter and talking that applies to my life now, that I hope my daughters will carry into their lives and hopefully eventually their families.
My mother is definitely the strongest role model in my life. She was the instrumental person in getting us out of Cuba. She taught me the importance of being independent, being resilient, and also as a working mom, she taught me that you could balance a career, family, and God.
I am very hopeful about the future of women leaders in St. Pete. It's very promising.
Already we have women in management positions and in leadership positions.
We have women in some of the places that we've been wanting to be for decades.
There's lots of women in every single role in the city, whether it's police officers, firefighters, and leadership.
The one thing that I love about the female leadership that's in place is that they are making a path for other women to follow.
But we also have a lot of work to do because I think we can diversify that pool of women still.
You have to have people of all walks of life. Everyone brings something different to the table, and it's important to hear all of those perspectives in order to find something that works best for everyone. After all, we're representing a very diverse, very large city now.
Women have such an important role in our culture.
The future of women in St. Pete has never felt brighter.
Mentor a young lady or find a mentor for yourself.
Be sure to honor women in your life.
This month and every month.
I
came to printmaking actually as a writer. I was getting my creative writing degree from Florida State. I took a class that was called Book Structures because I was really interested in the idea of self-publishing, and just discovered a whole world of this kind of like tactile, experimental, hands-on medium that I wasn't really aware existed before. So we do two types of printmaking here, letterpress printing and risograph printing. It looks like a copy machine, but it actually functions like screen printing, where you're layering colors one at a time. So it's color separated. It's really great to have the opportunity to be out at different markets and events to sell our work. Since we don't have really a retail space, it's our opportunity to get our work out there and also be there to kind of tell folks about the process. And there's kind of this excitement when they pick up this card and you can tell that a hand made it. It's a small but mighty, kind of like print-loving community here in St. Pete. We've been able to connect with everyone from local bookstores to local authors and poets that are interested in publishing their own work and making zines, to just art education groups. We're able to kind of connect with all different types of people and excite them about this process. And then this lever here, you press it with your thumb. We're really grateful to have such a supportive community here in St. Pete for local businesses. People get really excited at events, and there's all these fun little mom and pop shops and artists selling their work, things that you can't find in other cities, right? It makes St. Pete very unique. We've been able to make a lot of great connections and collaborations with our fellow local businesses.
Hi, I'm Jane and I work at Sunken Gardens, and my job is to take care of the parrots, 2 kookaburras, and a flock of flamingos, interact with them and just really enjoy the little slice of paradise at Sunken Gardens. What we're doing is, before we open at 10, getting everything done so that when the public arrives, all the birds are out and fed and happy. They're all unique. They all say different things, and it's just a lot of fun to interact with them. I love this job because it's unique. I don't think I'd ever find another one like it. It's just a really fun experience for me. Flamingos are very sociable and like people, love the people that handle them, and they're very sweet. So the fact that we have 2 that have been here over 62 years, it's kind of amazing. We also take care of the tortoises. We have South American red-footed tortoises and a huge old alligator snapping turtle. Sunken Gardens is an incredibly beautiful place. If the city hadn't bought it, who knows what this would be like now. To me, it is just an incredible, beautiful place. And when you're in here, you don't even realize that you're in the middle of a busy city. At the end of the day, when I leave, after they're all back inside in their cages, they all tell us bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. The worst part of my day, I guess, is pulling out onto 4th Street. It's just really fun to work here and incredible, good, fun job.
My name is William Clifton.
I work at the tire shop for the city of St. Petersburg. I'm a tire and wheel specialist. My general responsibilities are to make sure everything rolls. We just make sure everybody's rolling safe. We deal with garbage trucks, fire departments, wheelbarrows, forklifts. We pretty much deal with anything that has a tire. Some days it's 10, 20, and some days we're just non-stop. I know there's over 100 sanitation trucks. I think there's roughly 300 police vehicles, upwards of 1,000 or better. We have the big loaders. I think that's probably the heaviest, the biggest tire. Smallest, I've worked on probably forklift tires, the rear tires on a forklift, or wheelbarrow tires. I love the work. The work is fun. I mean, I like working with my hands. I feel like the tire shop is an integral part in the city because without us, nothing rolls. No fire truck, no police department, no water department, no tractors, no backhoes. All that comes to us. Well, right before Hurricane Irma came here last year, we were the last group of people out of the compound, and we were the first people in the compound back to work. We got somebody that needs tires right away. You can have all the running vehicles you want, but without tires, they're going nowhere.
District 2 is the northernmost district in St. Petersburg. It's bound by Tampa Bay to the north and east, 28th Street to the west, and as far south as Tennessee Avenue northeast. I'm Councilmember Brandy Gabbard, your representative for District 2. Today, we are at Power Design Inc., the city's largest private employer and a majority women-led business that has continuously been ranked one of Tampa Bay's best places to work. District 2 is the gateway to St. Petersburg for many coming from Tampa and North Pinellas. Its geography is one of the main reasons we are sought after by some of Tampa Bay's premier corporations, such as Jabil, HSN, FIS, and Raymond James. People may come for the jobs, but they stay for everything else we have to offer. As one of the fastest growing areas of St. Pete, we have a diverse mix of housing opportunities that include neighborhoods nestled along Tampa Bay, offering residents plenty of opportunities to take advantage of the St. Petersburg sunshine. You can spend your day grabbing a kayak or paddleboard from Urban Kai, playing some beach volleyball at Rec Deck, or checking out the wildlife and mangroves at Whedon Island. One of the jewels of our district is Riviera Bay Park, with its extensive walking trails, playground, outdoor gym, and my personal favorite, the St. Pete Bee Hotel, located within the butterfly garden that is filled with native plants and pollinators. After a long day outside, you can relax and unwind at one of our great local restaurants, such as Noble Crust or Paul's Chicago Pizza. And if you want something a little more exciting, come take a swing at the new Top Golf, located in Carillon, offering fun for the entire family. I am proud to represent this diverse area of our city. You can literally do it all here. Work, live, dine, play, go to school, and worship all in your backyard. If you're looking for a new place to call home or to just spend the day, check out District 2.
Hi, I'm Mike Perry from the Stormwater Pavement Traffic Ops Department. I'm the Senior Stormwater Operations Manager, and I'm here to talk about floodwaters. First and foremost, here's what the city does to get ready for wet weather events. Our department sends out street sweepers in low-lying areas to get rid of debris on the streets. We also have special crews that do stormwater inspections to make sure our stormwater systems and the conveyances are clear, including our pipes and our ditches. We do have our sandbag operations mobilized citywide And where we can, we also pump down lakes to provide storage in the community to get ready for any extreme weather. Should you encounter any floodwaters, do not walk through that area or try and drive through that area for safety reasons. You are the eyes and ears of the community, but please do let us know either through calling the service center or using C-Click Fix on your phone so that we can prioritize that work.
Hi, my name is Megan Orlando. I'm the Emergency Management Specialist for the Office of Emergency Management in St. Petersburg, Florida. I'm here to talk about Alert Pinellas. Alert Pinellas is our emergency notification tool. That's how we get our emergency notifications out to the public and to our communities. Alert Pinellas can distribute a wide range of notifications, watches and warnings for tornadoes, storm surge, high winds. It can alert for shelter evacuations, for boil water notices, and hazardous materials incidents. You can register for Alert Pinellas using the link on the screen. You can register with your email, with text messages, or to receive a phone call. Pro tip, you can add the Alert Pinellas phone number to your phone, so that way you know when you're getting a call from us. Opting into Alert Pinellas is the best way to ensure that you receive emergency notifications from your partners at the City of St. Pete and Pinellas County. Every storm creates its unique hazards, so follow city socials to stay up to date on the most important information.
I look at Woodlawn as probably the most neighbor-friendly, kid-friendly neighborhood that I've ever lived in. It's a wonderful neighborhood to grow up in. I wish I was a kid growing up in this neighborhood.
It's a real family-oriented community, super close to downtown, and it's just kind of one of those picturesque, nice, quaint little neighborhoods.
I think what was really cool about the neighborhood is it's different compared to a lot of the other neighborhoods where part of it is on a circle. So as soon as we drove in on the neighborhood looking for a house, I just knew that this neighborhood had kind of some extra character to it.
Woodlawn has got a circular style to it, design to it, and you can see from some of these old pictures that there really is a circle or an oval to Woodlawn neighborhood.
My favorite part of the day is driving home. You turn onto our street from MLK, and there's beautiful oak trees, blooming crepe myrtles, and then there's a park. We have a park just at the end of our street. So here in Woodlawn, we have 3 public parks within our community.
We use those parks a lot for our garage sale in the fall. There's cookouts that go on in those neighborhood parks, and they become very handy.
And that's where we have all of the holiday events, all of our neighborhood events, potlucks, things like that. But then on the weekends, you can just kind of go out there and hang out. So I've worked out in the park, take my dog to the park. There's a basketball hoop for the neighborhood kids to hang out. Got it!
As the fall and into the winter and into the holiday season, every one of those little pocket parks gets used for certain events.
Christmas caroling going on during Christmas. There's an Easter egg hunt through the neighborhood. Halloween is huge in this neighborhood.
And then Halloween, you forget about it. It is crazy around here.
Woodlawn likes to party.
So, like everything, trees come and go, and a lot of the trees in this neighborhood are laurel oaks, and they've got a time period of about 70 years in their lifespan. And we realized early on that the trees in this neighborhood were going to go away. What we did several years ago as part of a grant is got additional oak trees planted in several of those quadrant parks just to give a little shade so it's not as hot during the summer. And I would guarantee that 50 years from now, 100 years from now, the folks that are living here in these houses will be looking at those trees, wondering who planted them, and gosh darn it, they got to be getting old. Maybe we need to think about putting some new ones in.
There's so many generations of families here, old houses, new houses, young families, families that have been here for 20 years. But amidst all that, it's just a really cool community feel.
When we saw this house, as scary as it was, we knew it was the house just based on coming into the neighborhood and feeling so welcomed.
And the other interesting thing is about the folks that live in Woodlawn, the majority of them are very passionate about living here.
It's just a very outgoing and nice community.
What do you know about the Coliseum? That was a boom time development, wasn't it?
It was pretty much the place where people went.
Sure.
For entertainment. I mean, you hear some of the stories of the bands that played there, and it was amazing.
Most of the big white swing bands, I think, played there. And because it was in the segregation area, the counterpart in the black community was on 22nd Street South with the Manhattan Casino.
Correct.
And of course, they had all the big name bands come there and play as well.
The Coliseum in the 20s and 30s was kind of like the Amalie Arena of today, where everybody who was anybody musically performed there. But didn't some of the acts perform at the Coliseum and then that same night leave and go play at the
Absolutely,
Manhattan?
they sure did. And sometimes they would gather for impromptu jam sessions in people's houses, I'm told.
That's very cool.
Yes, it is.
I'm Leo Anderson, co-owner of Taste of the Island Marketplace and Restaurant, 2231 34th Street South. I'm a family man and also a minister. I've been here in St. Pete now 5 years, and I've been loving it. Life here is great. It's a great place to live, great place to rear my family. This year makes 30 years that my family's actually been running the restaurant business in St. Pete. Started into it with my uncle, who's my partner in the business, who had the restaurant already, so I kind of bought into the restaurant. The idea of the grocery store was always there. It's just that we fast-tracked it because this was empty and it was right beside. So, came in and started doing, the reconnaissance and what it would take to get the market off the ground. We have a very friendly atmosphere. We have a very, very welcoming family atmosphere. That's number one. We pride ourselves in treating people good, whether you're paying us or not. We want you to feel at home. From spices to ground provisions to just snacks. We bring in chips from Jamaica. We bring in a lot of drinks from Jamaica. We bring in spices from Grenada. We bring in fresh soursop, which is a highly sought after item from Grenada and from Dominica. We really try to take the stuff that we're used to on the island and bringing it into St. Pete and let people who have tasted it or would like to try it, they can come on over and indulge. From customer to the generals in charge of running the city and so on, we have felt the presence and we feel welcome. As I say, it's a love affair. We are here to stay, really, in St. Pete. 30 years already and we're just getting started because as you can see, what the family is trying to do is pass it from one generation to the next. And hopefully, God tarry, I'll be able to pass it to the next generation.
District 1 is located west of 49th Street North, from 7th Avenue South to 40th Avenue North. It's where the city meets Bogosiega Bay. I'm Councilmember Copley Gertis, your representative for District 1. Standing here by the baseball fields at Northwest Park has a special meaning to me. This is the park where I spent my childhood racing in the pool, playing youth baseball growing up, and where countless residents have enjoyed all kinds of outdoor activities. Northwest Park is also the home to the J.W. Cate Rec Center. District 1 is filled with an abundance of beautiful large parks. Residents can enjoy a run around Walter Fuller Park, the boardwalk's water views from Abercrombie Park, or a round of frisbee golf at Azalea Park. Swimming pools, dog parks, walking trails, outdoor gym facilities, and more serve whatever you seek this side of town. I love that the neighborhoods surrounding the parks, such as Jungle Prada and Jungle Terrace, inherit the lush landscape and wildlife we love within the park system. As if these parks aren't enough to keep you in touch with nature, Some of the best beaches in the world are a quick drive or a bike ride away. The proximity between the Gulf beaches and downtown St. Pete make this part of St. Pete one of a kind. This side of St. Petersburg has become a mecca for local shops and restaurants like Alessia, Two Graces, the Wheelhouse, and the Nosh Pit. With long-standing institutions like St. Pete College, St. Pete Catholic High School, and Admiral Farragut all help support the diverse culture throughout District 1. There's no denying the vibrant display of energy, nature, neighborhoods, and great local businesses when you spend a little time in District 1.
My name is Dominic Colangelo. I am the ground maintenance here for Treasure Island, City of St. Pete. And essentially I make sure this place stays, up and running, clean, help with any little things that may go wrong. When I come to work, the first thing I do is I blow the sand, leaves off the deck, kind of clean it up over there. And then after all that's said and done, go down to the beach, make sure everything's all picked up over there, rake the area, make sure it's nice and clean. It's the start of my day. I really do enjoy my job. I get to hang out at the beach all day, meet some interesting people. It's cool. I've had a couple of people come up and they didn't realize this was owned by the City of St. Pete, so we kind of give them the story about it. Mayor John Brown donated this property to the City of St. Pete, and it was basically for the residents, for their families to come to enjoy the amenities that we had here, like the restrooms, the indoor showers, playgrounds. So he donated that to the community. Today's a beautiful day. I love feeling the wind. I love looking at the water when I drive around. It's kind of peaceful. It's kind of like I'm just by myself, getting the job done, but it doesn't feel like work. I like the freedom. I like being out by the water. It's always a beautiful day, and it's something a lot of people don't get to do.
To address St. Pete's growth and rising housing costs, Mayor Welsh launched the Housing Opportunities for All plan in April of 2023. It is a multi-year plan that will help residents settle, stay, and feel stable in St. Pete. Housing affordability is a key element in Mayor Ken Welsh and his team's agenda, and one of his 5 pillars for progress. The next milestone in the Housing Opportunities for All plan is the citywide expansion of the Rebates for Affordable Residential Rehabs program, previously only offered in the South St. Pete CRA. The program provides rebates to eligible homeowners to make improvements to their properties, making it easier to stay in their homes. Examples of potential improvements covered by rebates are structural repairs, roof replacement, electric and plumbing upgrades, window and door replacement, HVAC replacement, insulation upgrades, kitchen and bath upgrades, and accessory dwelling unit construction. For more information on qualifications and how to apply, visit stpete.org/home rebates.
Today we're celebrating the grand opening of our Sunken Gardens History Center, which is housed in the restored original 1940s entrance building to Turner's Sunken Gardens, one of Florida's last remaining roadside attractions.
Since 1935, Sunken Gardens has been a landmark in St. Petersburg, providing a beautiful oasis in our busy city, a place to relax, enjoy nature, and the joy of gardening. What a great decision this was 20 years ago, because as we all know, St. Pete's become a lot more busy in the last 20 years. And so this is quite an oasis for us to have. The city purchased Sunken Gardens in 1999, and thanks to an excellent staff, volunteers, and a really dynamic foundation, today the Gardens is a must-see experience for residents and visitors alike. The historical assets of our city must be preserved and maintained, and that's why this History Center is so important. It honors our past and the early pioneers who paved the way for the Sunken Gardens of today.
behind me is our new History Center, which we're so excited to have and present to you. And you'll notice in the window we have our founder, George Turner Sr., just as he was in 1940. The Gardens is really a family story. It's a story about the Turners that started with George Sr. and then continued through 3 generations. Today, all of you are part of Sunken Gardens history. All of you are here for this historic moment as Sunken Gardens continues to make history.
This was originally the entrance in 1940. Was about 4 years after they decided to make a go of having an attraction as opposed to selling fruits and vegetables. Over the years, it changed usage. When I was a girl, it was what we call the drink stand. More recently, it's been used as an overnight birdhouse to keep the birds safe. But now it's our new history center. To see my grandfather in the window, it's icing on the cake. It's like he's there overseeing his garden.
St. Petersburg citizens in 1999 voted to tax themselves to save Sunken Gardens. That almost never happens. So my hope is that people understand the importance of historic sites like this, historic gardens, historic places that really give Florida its character. They're the reason that we want to live here. We need to preserve them, and I really hope people fall in love with it all the more and understand the importance of preserving it.
So a gentleman by the name of Percy Fansler had an idea of using an airplane, because back then flight was basically just a novelty, right? So a lot of air shows and stuff like that. So that he had an idea of flying from point A to point B on a schedule, just like a train. Unheard of, but who the heck would do that? Nobody was gonna fly on a plane when you had a good old train. They arranged for Thomas Benoit and his airboat company to come to St. Petersburg. Roger and Tony Janis came with them, their chief pilot and mechanic / engineers. January 1st, 1914, they pushed that bad boy, that Benoit airboat, into the water, and 22.5 minutes later, landed in Tampa in the world's first commercial airline flight. Would you have flown in that plane?
I believe I would have. I think I would have.
My art style is mixing a little bit of traditional painting methods with like a little urban art flair and bright colors. I think it's a way of expressing yourself to the community, and especially through public art like this, putting a little color into the community. It helps tell a story of the community. It helps have a sense of pride in the area. A lot of us live in the area, so you're contributing to the growth and belonging of your own backyard. We all share things in common, and I try to show that in a fun, colorful way, kind of through a lot of my artwork. My name is Francisco Gonzalez. I go by Frankie G.
Water is an issue in the state of Florida. Do you know where our original water source was?
Back in the day, I believe it came from what we call Mirror Lake today. And back then, because it served as the city's reservoir, they imaginatively called it Reservoir Lake. And it supplied the city water for quite some time. And during the Spanish-American War, there would be troop deployments come over from Tampa to get water from the lake so that they could take back to the troops who were waiting to embark to Cuba.
They did. I remember seeing a newspaper article from the day the ships were leaving Tampa, and it almost became chaotic because a number of the ships that left Tampa had to come to St. Petersburg, take on water, go back to Tampa. The speedier ships wanted to leave Tampa and hurry and invade Cuba, and it became just some craziness in the middle of Tampa Bay there.
It would have been chaotic.
Very chaotic.
Dear reader, you are loved more than you know.
Keep smiling and shining and being who you are.
The world is lucky to have you.
Happy Pride to you. Celebrate like you should.
Life would be dull without you in it. Keep shining bright.
Sunshine face.
You are so loved. Do not let anyone ever tell you different.
St. Pete loves you.
We need you. We appreciate you. Thank you for being you.
You are beautiful just as you are, and you make our city more beautiful because you are a part of it.
You make the world more colorful.
You make the world brighter.
Never give up.
You are loved for exactly
who you are.
I promise. The world needs you in it.
Sign painting was a very blue-collar job. It wasn't a glorified art by any means. The people that were practicing sign painting, they had to find the most efficient means of going about it. So oftentimes they would draw it directly on and paint from there. And when you take that approach, it's prone to accidents. Sometimes you'll have the proportions a little bit off, or you'll see a little bit of these imperfections. And I think that's really charming. I think that catches people's eye. They feel a little bit more connected to the personality of the lettering or of the sign. Inside an art studio, it was a warehouse, and there was a lot of other great artists, and I realized no one there was really focused on lettering. In that time, they asked me to start painting signs for each different art show that came about, and that really got me the experience and working on a large scale. I totally fell in love with crafting the letters and building them up from scratch. There's reverse glass signs, there's wall signs, A-frames, we have blade signs, hanging signs. There's a wide array. One aspect of the work I do is gold leaf work. It's pretty magical to watch it happen. You're applying these thin sheets of gold to either glass or on the surface, and you paint the background and then remove the excess of the gold, and it kind of reveals the lettering that you painted. St. Pete has a really great small business community, and I've had the opportunity to work with so many great people that started out as clients and become good friends. I really appreciate the trust that people give me to help them and advise on what sign's gonna work best for them. At the end of the day, you eat with your eyes before you do with your mouth, so having a good sign will leave a lasting impression. And you might not always know why you like it or dislike it, but it sticks with you.
Hay un alfiler en una orilla de una ciudad en un mapa, como una esmeralda en la oscuridad o un ojo de pelícano. Oh península de sol, mar y baños. Aquí somos tan diversos como las conchas, la flora y las muchas aves que nos visitan cada invierno. Sí, somos bami, empanadas, caniches, injera, roti. Somos reggaetón, rap, cumbia, trap, jazz, rock y folk. Caminemos por el St. Pete Youth Farm para encontrar todo tipo de raíces entrelazados, alimentándose de la misma tierra. Aquí hacemos espacio para todos. Mira las historias pintadas en las paredes, calles y intersecciones. Neón, prismáticas y sin miedo de hacer ruido porque el arte brilla aquí, donde pintamos el arco iris por la ciudad con orgullo y decimos gay, donde las vidas negras importan y donde una hija de inmigrantes puede ser su poeta laureada.
Thank you.
Hay un alfiler en una orilla, en una ciudad, en un mapa. Acércate, respira el aire salado. Mi gente, miren a su alrededor. Somos St. Pete. We are St. Pete.
Hey, Bubba. Hi, good morning. Hey, you ready to come out? You ready for breakfast?
My name's Amy DePalma, and I am a nature preserve ranger here at Boyd Hill. The specialty of my job is overseeing the Birds of Prey program. We take in permanently injured, non-releasable birds of prey, and we turn them into avian ambassadors. We take these birds all throughout the county, from the Saturday morning market to schools to assisted living facilities. When you're talking about conservation, sometimes it can be kind of a bore, but when you have a great horned owl sitting on your arm talking about conservation, people are a lot more inclined to listen, to pay attention, especially since these birds have injuries due to human interaction in some way. Conservation efforts in general are really important around the world, but specifically here at Boyd Hill because we do live in one of the most densely populated counties in all of Florida. It's really important to conserve these small parcels of land. All of these birds that we have here live throughout Florida. We also have to worry about their diet and feeding them, so we weigh them almost daily to make sure that their food fluctuates with their body weights. We also have to do medical care, but aside from me, we have 54 volunteers that help make this program run day to day. There's a lot of maintenance that goes along with these birds, and it's a group effort. It's not just me. Step up. Up. No, you want to face everyone, huh? You got an audience. They're just like people. They have good days and bad days. So sometimes when you walk in, they want nothing to do with you, and other times you're walking around the corner and they're chirping and yelling saying, come in here and feed me. So it's really, really, probably one of my favorite parts of the job is just interacting with these birds.
Hey, Dance. Yeah, so this is Dancer. He's a red-tailed hawk. He is 19 years old.
I mean, I get to spend my day in a nature preserve. So I am surrounded by nature and surrounded by nature-minded people, which really excites me. So interacting with kids and adults and just spreading my passion is really what I love about this job.
Wardsville, that was actually named for perhaps a businessman and his wife who was maybe for a while the postmistress in town.
They took care of everybody's mail here, and we needed a name, and we were Wardsville until, you know, the magical day where we became St. Petersburg.
And speaking of that, how did it happen?
That's a great story. If you ride the trolleys, you hear a great story about, you know, a coin flip where, you know, Peter Demenz and John Williams, who owned most of what is now downtown St. Petersburg, General John Williams, flipped a coin, right? The winner gets to name the city, loser gets to name the first hotel. Makes complete sense, right? The city is St. Petersburg, named after St. Petersburg, Russia, where Peter Demenz is from. The Detroit Hotel is our first hotel, named after Detroit, Michigan, where Williams is from. Great story, but it's not true. We needed a name. And the postmaster wanted a name. Peter Demenz had a press conference saying he was taking his train to St. Petersburg. John Williams didn't want to call it St. Petersburg. So there's all kinds of discussion. So what do you think happened after that?
I think somebody, perhaps one of the partners in that railroad enterprise, said, look, we have to name this after Peter Demenz, and so we're going to name it St. Petersburg. And you go to the post office and tell Ms. Ward that's what it's going to be. And that's probably about how it happened, as simple as that.
It's as close as it came.
The American Rescue Plan Act provides relief funds to governments negatively affected by COVID-19. The city of St. Petersburg has received about $45 million in the ARPA funds for investment and have identified key projects that will directly impact St. Pete residents, focusing 75% of funds on affordable housing and support, and 25% of funds on health and social equity efforts. These projects also fall within Mayor Ken Welch's 5 pillars of progress: housing opportunities for all, neighborhood health and safety, equitable development, arts and business opportunities, education and youth opportunities, environment, infrastructure, and resilience. So, what happens next? We plan to spend ARPA funds in the following categories: $34 million for housing affordability and support, and $11 million for health and social equity. Here's a closer look at the plan. To address the affordable housing crisis in the city, 75% of the ARPA funds will be allocated to affordable housing and support. The city received the Housing Champion Award from the Florida Housing Coalition, which recognizes the city for dedicating the highest percentage of COVID-19 state and local fiscal recovery funds from the ARPA to affordable housing. What might that housing assistance look like? Financial assistance toward things like new housing units, shelters for families in need, and additional supportive services. With the rest of the funds, the plan addresses mental health challenges and food insecurity. 25% of the ARPA funds will be used to develop projects that treat root causes of these conditions and situations. Things like food security programs, mental health counseling, youth development and nonprofit funding, and other neighborhood services. For more information about the city's use of ARPA funds, visit stpete.org/ARPA.
Well, we just finished Move with the Mayor, which was a mile walk around downtown St. Pete. Really sponsored by the U.S. Conference of Mayors and Healthy St. Pete, of course, right here in our city, to stress wellness and the link between mental health and physical health.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and so it's important that we do things like this, and we're happy that we have administrative support and the city to come in and celebrate with us.
We went for a walk with the mayor. Yeah. Moved our bodies, connected with
Wait,
some
first
old
we did a warm up. Don't forget the warm
Yeah.
up. We did
a little dancing.
A little dance, a little aerobic dance and activity, and then we walked around the city.
Yeah, it was great.
Yes. Awesome.
The whole point of this is to connect the benefit of physical fitness and mental health. As we know, moving our body is good for our minds.
Wellness has been a focus of the city and continues to be. We want our city to be healthy. Healthy and safe neighborhoods is one of our pillars for progress. We want folks to get out, move, and enjoy some of the natural benefits we have in the city of St. Pete with this kind of weather and the beauty of our city.
We're all yoga teachers, so we're all very familiar with encouraging people to move their bodies to help with mental health, really, and just feeling their best.
Mental and physical.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have an inclusive approach to health. It includes mental health, it includes physical health. So we look at the entire person just as we look at our entire community.
I hope the community had a great time today, came in and just learned more about the resources out there. The city is rich with resources, and we hope we gave them an opportunity to connect.
So the one thing that I would like to lift up and make sure that everybody hears is that there's two Child's Parks. There's the Child's Park that you hear about and that you read about, but then there's my Child's Park. The parameters of Child's Park include 34th Street South to 49th Street, and then 18th Avenue to 5th Avenue South. And that's the Child's Park neighborhood, but the greater Child's Park area actually covers about 3 neighborhoods. It goes to about 1st Avenue to around 30th Avenue South.
I believe through the YMCA, the library, and the Rattlers organization has become very instrumental in helping our youth and children become very productive adults.
The Rattler program into a GAP program that's designed to engage the community, to build family and community and crime prevention by keeping the kids engaged in youth activities.
I think the emphasis for developing youth in Child's Park arises from some statistics that we received, is that Child's Park had the highest concentration of youth in the city of St. Petersburg.
What we promote is family and community. So what we're trying to instill in them with the program is that we are one big family.
Because a lot of the initiatives and things are always they're heavy focused on programming, or some type of, regimen or awareness piece or a pledge or something else. And we felt that it was important to just allow them to have a space to just come and have fun.
We're solely manned by volunteers, and we let them know that too. So we want them to come back and be volunteers, so the torch is just passed on, so we all learning from one another.
They're not just focused on the athletic aspect of it, but they also focus on youth development. So they have a tutoring program that they do.
And with the YMCA, you have the Rattlers and you have the other programs that's offered. When kids get out of school, they have a place to go. They have the library there.
The STREAM Club stands for Science, Technology, Reading, Engineering, Arts, and Math. We meet every Friday afternoon at the Child's Park Library. It's kind of an extra opportunity for them to get some exposure to topics they might not know about or might have heard in school and didn't quite stick. We just give them opportunities to have different kinds of experiences and hands-on experiences at that.
The youth have a place to go and children have a place to come daily. Matter of fact, that's a great thing to help kids get off the street, have a place to go, a safe haven you might call it.
One of my brothers, when we first organized this, he said, we're helping to create their back in the day. And I think that's important because, all of us have our back in the day, and I remember back in the day when we used to do that. So our responsibility as the adults now is to help create the back in the day experience for them. And what's happening today is Friday Night Done Right, an event that we created to create a safe space for children to come on Friday nights so they can be free to be kids. Sometimes you just want to remember when you went to the pool and they let you in for free, and that was it. And that's why I think it's important to help create those type of memories as well.
The Child's Park neighborhood, if anyone would ask about it, I would state that it was often misunderstood.
So I'll encourage people to come and see for themselves. There's more to Child Park that I've seen more positive in Child Park than I have seen negative.
And my Child's Park encompasses everything that we described today, and I hope that you will gravitate towards that and balance that once you hear the other stories and the other narratives that come out about the neighborhood.
We are here today to celebrate more than $10 million in community funding requests from the federal government that Congresswoman Kathy Castor will be submitting to the federal budget.
It's such an exciting time to be in St. Petersburg. The city is growing. There are all sorts of new small businesses opening, but we want to make sure that as the city grows and thrives, that everyone benefits, all parts of the community.
These projects are transformational projects, and they really cover so many different facets of the importance of the quality of life in the city of St. Petersburg. These are really going to be transformational.
It's amazing the diversity of the impact. Part of this is $5 million for stormwater infrastructure improvements to deal with heavier rains and sea level rise and flooding in parts of our community. Another $4 million is for affordable housing on the Deuces in the Sankofa project, and we know that housing affordability is a major issue in our community. And another $1.5 million is to plan for the conversion of Enoch Davis to a really impactful community center for innovation and opportunity that will be like nothing we've ever seen here in South St. Pete.
Collaboration is not something that you always see when it comes to governments working together, but I think City of St. Petersburg has gotten it right. We have in the past been very successful at utilizing federal funding to do the most good for the most residents, and that is what we are intending on doing here today.
Having grown up in this neighborhood, I know what this community center means. It's very old, but it still is a hub. You have seniors here, you have young people, you have community groups here, and folks ought to be able to come here and make themselves better, lift themselves up, have the modern tech, have the facilities that are attractive and that you would want to use. And so that kind of impact is going to affect opportunities for young folks and old folks throughout St. Petersburg.
So these are steps in the road to progress for St. Pete. Here in Sunshine City, the future is bright, but you've got to make sure that you're lifting everyone.
I think a trailblazer is a person who looks at the needs of now without high regard for the status quo or the way we've always done things, but focuses their work on how you make our community better today and for generations to come. None of us stand on our own, and so in order for me to be elected mayor, there were so many folks in generations before me that had to fight even for the right to vote, or even for the right to be a full-fledged police officer like Leon Jackson. I just looked at myself as the next in a line of folks who are working to move our community forward. Without the Leon Jacksons of the world, I certainly wouldn't be in this position. And without guys like Bob Stewart, former city council member and county commissioner, who's one of my mentors, who served with both me and my father, you know, without those folks also pushing, we wouldn't be where we are today. You know, I attended the last segregated class at Melrose as a kindergarten student, that I'm able to go back to that and talk to those students as the 54th mayor of our city. That's a lot for one lifetime. As I go around the classroom, I do this for Great American Teach-In, and ask the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And the last time I went, there were 3 kids that said, you know, I want to be mayor, and one young lady who said she wanted to be president. That's what it's all about. It's just making sure kids understand you really can achieve. Progress doesn't happen without someone who challenges the status quo, the powers that be, and speaks up for folks who are largely silenced. There is such a thing as a silent majority, folks who are too busy putting food on the table, taking care of their kids or their parents to be involved in the political arena. And so the folks that do that represent a lot of folks who can't be engaged. Find someone, reach out to someone that you admire who's made it, and reach out to them. Email, Facebook. I guarantee a lot of folks will actually respond to that. I certainly will if someone's interested in elective office. Reach out, make that first step. Never be bound by the status quo or someone else's opinion of what you can or cannot do. When you look at the top concern for residents in an urban city or even our rural communities, a growing number of Americans list affordable housing at the top of the list. Here in St. Pete, it's no different. I'm standing here at the Shores in South St. Pete with 51 new affordable units made possible by a county-wide collaboration. Understanding the relationship between our quality of life and housing is critical. That's why I'm launching the Housing Opportunities for All plan, an intentional expansion to our existing housing plan that addresses the current state of our city. The plan aims to produce new affordable housing units, preserve existing affordable housing, and protect tenants. Housing Opportunities for All is more than a priority in our administration. It's a foundational part of our mission, a pillar for progress. This year, we've designated more than $40 million to build new affordable housing units and plan to help thousands of residents preserve their current homes over the next several years. We've also implemented powerful protections for renters with our Tenants' Bill of Rights. There is nothing more important to me and our City Council than improving the quality of life for the people of St. Petersburg. And these are just a few examples of the impactful work that's underway right now. I will continue to keep you updated on progress made as we help more families settle into their new homes and stay in their current homes. So working together and listening to each other with our eyes on inclusive progress, we will continue to move the needle on affordable housing. To learn more about the Housing Opportunities for All plan, visit www.stpete.org/affordable housing. We are St. Pete.
Hey, that's my house, and this is my ASMR video about water conservation. I use water wisely. Ever have a drippy sink? You should fix it to not waste water, and also not to go crazy with that dripping noise. Look there, that's my automatic shut-off hose attachment. Super water conservative. Even when nature calls, I call nature and I say, "Hi, I'm conserving water with my high-efficiency tank." Okay, bye. Oh, hey, that's me. Just using my high-efficiency washer. Just listen to the sounds of water being conserved. Go to this website to learn more, St. Pete, and do what you can for water conservation.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to September 18th, 2025 Committee of the Whole. Clerk, could we please do a roll call?
Gertis.
Here.
Gabbert.
Here.
Harding. Here. Hanowitz.
Here.
Dick Sanders.
Here.
Driscoll.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here.
And Floyd.
Here. Thank you. I almost balked at saying here because it's been a couple weeks. Okay, council members, we have an agenda in front of us for our meeting. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we've got minutes from August 28th, 2025. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approval.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're going to jump right into it. And our new business this morning is a continued discussion on the Clean and Safe program. We've got a bunch of people joining us, but this is Councilmember Driscoll's item. So I'm going to turn it over to Councilmember Driscoll for an introduction. Councilmember Driscoll.
Thank you so much. This was originally discussed in another committee, and so we got a great introduction as to what a clean and safe program might look like in St. Petersburg. Some really great questions came out of it and great feedback, including going from a phase 1 and a phase 2 to doing a whole program approach to this, and then of course some different ideas were discussed regarding funding that needed to be fleshed out as well. So today's a follow-up to that, and I just certainly appreciate everyone's engagement on this, and I look forward to seeing how we're going to move forward with this program today.
All set?
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Okay, Brian, welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Council. Brian Caper, Managing Director for City Development. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning to continue our discussion from PS&I back in June. So before we really kind of start in, just wanted to recap and level set that conversation back in June. So we presented on clean and safe programs on June 12th, and it was really kind of a two-part presentation. First, city staff reviewed examples of clean and safe programs throughout the U.S., and then the Downtown Partnership presented on a proposed program for St. Petersburg. As Councilmember Driscoll mentioned, we had a really great dialogue with Council, and there were several items that were flagged for follow-up, which we are prepared to present on today. The first is an overview of existing city services. So what are gaps in our existing services and what are potential overlaps with a clean and safe program for what the city is currently doing in downtown. Then looking at a variety of funding options and some pros and cons with each of those different options, as well as some internal changes that would be needed to support enhanced services in the downtown area. And then finally, a potential scope of services for a clean and safe program. We are joined by Mr. Jason Mathis and Sean Drinkard from the St. Petersburg Downtown Partnership to speak on that proposed scope of services following our presentation. So just the agenda for today. First, we'll start with some very just high-level considerations, legal framework. Then we will jump into existing city services, and we've split it up in sort of the safety piece of a clean and safe program. So we'll be joined by St. Pete PD, and we'll have a social services presentation from Helen Rhymes. Then we'll get into the clean piece, so maintenance and cleanliness in downtown, where we'll be joined by codes, sanitation, parks, and public works. Then we will have another just kind of high-level recap, clean and safe programs. What do they do? Where are they? How are they funded? And go through a couple examples. Then we'll get into the various funding mechanisms and the pros and cons of each of those. And then, of course, we'll open it up for any feedback and questions. So before we start on the existing downtown services, really just wanted to reiterate some legal framework and considerations. Often when we talk about clean and safe programs, homelessness is a component of that, and homeless services and advocacy is a component of clean and safe. But we are obviously governed by our ordinances and enforcement of that. A clean and safe program doesn't really change those regulations or ordinances. Someone laying down on a blanket in Williams Park, their housing status does not matter. As long as that is in sunshine hours, whether we do it or a member of the unhoused population does it, it's regulated exactly the same. Similarly, public intoxication. That is going to be the same. Unhoused status does not matter. And so just want to really reiterate that while homelessness and homeless services are components of clean and safe, it doesn't change how those are regulated or how that ultimately gets interacted with